All right, everyone. Welcome back to Introducing Friends to Warhammer 40K. I am Wulfboi, aka George, and with me tonight, as always, we have James, who goes by screen name Griever.
Hello.
And we also have Chelsea, who goes by Starrgal. How are you?
Hello, I'm here. I'm actually really excited because I haven't seen this.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say right now, this is definitely going to be a very exciting video to watch in this case, because this is something that I only watched recently myself, and to be perfectly honest, I'm very much blown out of the water by the level of attention and detail that's in it. But obviously I'm not going to get into that now, because that's going to come after we watch it. But before we dive in, I'm also going to pretty much acknowledge a couple of things. First of all, I have to give a huge load of thanks to pretty much everyone who saw the last video that we uploaded on Saturday. Basically, that coverage of episodes 5 through 8 of If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device basically broke a record. It became the very first video to cross 10K in under 3 days. So that is just completely bonkers to me, and I just feel beyond blessed, honestly. And it's double what the previous TTSD video succeeded in doing in that same time frame. So, yeah, that's awesome. And to the 369 concurrent viewers who watched along during the premiere, thank you so much for coming out to watch along with us and just be there to show support and just commentary as it went. It was so much fun, and honestly, I can't wait to do more of that in future releases. So look forward to that.
Regret nothing.
Yeah,
Still
I know
regret
you regret nothing, you lion lover.
Hashtag what?
Nope.
Hashtag Jar Jar Magnus.
That really is going to go on a t-shirt someday.
Nope.
You can't stop
me. Ass.
Watch me.
Try and visit the Fang, see what happens. Okay. And in another bit of things I want to touch on, I have to be very thankful to not just the patrons who signed up last time, like Lex, but also the new patrons that came and pretty much contributed directly to the channel as well. I want to give thanks to the new patrons, Mario Zavala, Polani Torino, Nako Rain, Superbo Bit, I think. Please forgive me for saying that incorrectly, but it is spelled Superbo Bit. And the Happy Urk. Guys, thank you so much for your direct contributions to the channel. It is so appreciated. I don't have words to convey properly how I feel, honestly. And it also doesn't help that we're disembodied voices for the purposes of this content as of right now.
We are the voices in your head, and we hope we provide entertainment and friendship, you know.
Yes, and I'm going to be screening for any mimetic chaos that you'll be whispering for sure, Chelsea.
Hey, you know my prank motto, it's confuse, don't abuse. This is why I filled your entire house in Minecraft with food.
Trust me, that was just so out of left field. I didn't even know how to give a proper reaction. And the best part was you missed it. You missed that reaction.
I did, and it made me sad.
It was quite a reaction. I'm sorry you did miss it.
All right. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and say we're just going to be diving into the new show that has been brought to our attention, Helsreach. I'm going to go ahead and say that I only watched Helsreach recently. That being said, there's going to be plenty of details I am for sure going to miss. I am not going to question that truth for a fact. That's why I'm going to be turning to everyone who goes into the comments to show all three of us, really, the intricate detail that is in this. And I know that this is based off of a book, and I gotta tell you, after watching what I have watched so far, I am placing an order for that book so that way I can read it myself. It is fantastic. And now I get to have the pleasure and joy of showing this to both James and Chelsea. So why don't we get this party started? Ooh, prologue.
I will die on this world. I cannot tell where this conviction comes from. Whatever birthed it is a mystery to me, and yet the thought clings like a virus, blooming behind my eyes and taking deep root within my mind. It almost feels real enough to spread corruption to the rest of my body, like a true sickness. It will happen soon, within the coming nights of blood and fire. I will draw my last breath, and when my brothers return to the stars, my ashes will be scattered over the priceless earth of this accursed world. Armageddon. Even the name twists my blood until burning oil beats through my veins. I feel anger now, hot and heavy, flowing through my heart and filtering into my limbs like boiling poison. My hands curl into fists. I am strong, born only to slay for the Emperor and the Imperium. I am pure, wearing the blackest of the black, trained to serve as a spiritual guide as well as a war leader. I am wrath incarnate, living only to kill until finally killed. I am a weapon in the eternal crusade to forge humanity's mastership of the stars. Its strength, purity, and wrath will not be enough.
Oh my gosh.
I will die on this world. I will die on Armageddon.
As in the audiobook Helsreach. I think I'm in love. That was so gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's an instantaneous endorsement. Nice.
Like, honestly, that was so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say the art styling for that was extremely well done.
Mm-hmm.
One where I just kind of WTF'd was that a flying skull robot thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, how to explain that?
Actually, please do, because I don't know what they are. I know they exist, but I don't know what they are.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here for you so that way you can actually have the thing visually represented. Okay. So, what that floating skull is basically called a servo skull. It's basically a drone that's fashioned from an actual human skull, and basically it's used as Imperial servants. And yeah, to be honest, they're used for many different purposes that you would use a typical drone for, but what happens is it's usually possessed by what's quote-unquote a machine spirit, or the mechanic is a polite way of saying an artificial intelligence. It is designed to sort of be like a drone that records video information or relay communications to different parties. So if you really think like drone with the arms that dangle off of it in Star Wars, think that, but fashioned from like an actual human skull.
So it's an Alexa.
God almighty.
Yeah, it's kind of like an Alexa that's basically using the Imperium's level of technology and knowledge of said technology. Kind of like how
So Alexa forged from hell.
That'd be a good way of referring to it. I guess like another good way of looking at it as well is, you know how they would take like an actual person and turn them into a servitor, where they're just a zombie with tech bits and they mindlessly do whatever you tell them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Similar fashion, but just a skull version of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how I know them. There's probably more and more details that I don't really have off the top of my head, because honestly, for some reason, I approached 40K, I saw that was part of the aesthetic, I didn't question it like you did, James. So now I'm just kind of caught like in a weird moment where it's like, I really don't know that much about it now that I think of it. I just kind of accepted it for what it was.
That's what I do with so many things in Warhammer. I just see it and I go, that's a thing, and then I don't ask any questions and I keep going.
Yeah.
So that was a Black Templar, right?
Yeah, that's a good call out. So the chapter of the Space Marines that he represents, this character here. Hold on, let me see if I can pull him up. This guy right here.
So beautiful.
He is of the Space Marine chapter, the Black Templars, and who they are a successor chapter to the original Legion called the Imperial Fists. Now,
Dorn's Boys!
Exactly.
Okay.
So, James, you're not entirely familiar with who the Imperial Fists are beyond...
I know you've mentioned them a couple of times, but it's kind of my context of it.
Yeah. Now, what this chapter is as an offshoot is a result of the Codex Astartes adoption by the Astartes in general, that they cannot exceed a certain number of Astartes per group, and each group is to be organized as a chapter. And the Imperial Fists were broken up into 3, I believe. The Crimson Fists, the Imperial Fists, taken on the name of the original, and the Black Templars. And those are the main 3 successors from the Rogal Dorn lineage. So that's who this guy is.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that's going to make him stand out is that his helmet is patterned with a human skull effigy that's on it. That isn't like a genuine skull, because no one's face is actually that large, unless you count Ogren. But
Oh, I was just thinking like Primarch. I was thinking Primarch. I mean, their heads would probably be that big, but that would be really unrealistic.
Yeah, it really would be. And really, this character's helmet is unique to him, especially since he has a certain role in his unit. So he'll have something that will differentiate him, besides the markings on the shoulders to denote which company he's part of, what unit in the chapter he is, and what task and purpose he is. That helmet adds to his display of rank, if you look at it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And looks like he's part of a unit of 5, so that's going to be an interesting note going forward. So that means there's going to be 4 other Astartes that we're going to be following alongside with him. And his entire monologue talking about how he's going to die on this planet called Armageddon, that goes hand in hand with the setting of where this Helsreach is going to be. If you guys remember back in TTS episodes 1 through 4, where I went on my whole rant about how the Space Wolves were screwed over by the Inquisition,
Mm-hmm.
the planetary system where all of that kerfuffle started was on the system of Armageddon. So this is the same location in the universe as that situation. However, that played out during the year 444 in Millennium 41. The war that we're going to be paying attention to now is 550 years after the fact. So this is long.
Okay, so it's almost near the end of the era rather than the midish.
Yeah, so there's a large gap between them. So this is not the same thing as that whole Months of Shame situation that I ranted on before. This is way, 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 way after the fact. And if I got my notes correct, this is occurring during the Third War of Armageddon. So, yeah. That's about as much information as I can glean from this. The only other thing that's worth noting realistically in this was the fact that he mentions that he basically has a rage that is building up within him. I'm just going to go
He's
ahead
a Black
and say...
Templar. That's just kind of par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah. So, like Chelsea said, the Black Templars are known for embodying rage on the battlefield. Their entire thing is if they get started on a killing, they do not stop. They will kill anything that is in front of them. That is a target. So
They're basically berserkers?
Not
Yeah.
mindless as the term berserker would denote. They just are very, very battle-hardened and very focused at what they do. That if I really had to say it, I would say that they are probably one of the scarier chapters to meet on the battlefield. All Astartes are scary in their own right, but a Black Templar, you could literally throw as many mines, bombs, and everything in his way, but he's going to find a way around that, and he's going to brutally and painfully kill you once he sets his sight on you. So, yeah, they're scary boys.
And they hate all aberrations of mutation and Psyker and Xeno and...
Yeah, if you were not...
They'll kill anything.
Yeah, if you were not what they consider a standard human, you are basically as close to a target as you're going to get.
So somebody who actually is like 7 foot tall and has 3 arms is just as bad as somebody who has... Oh, darn it! I forgot what it was called. 2 different colored eyes.
Monochromia?
No. It was heterochromia or something.
No, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's monochromia.
Either way, it's something to that akin, where it's the same to them because you're still an aberration.
Yeah, that would be the extreme, I'd say.
I am.
Yeah. So these guys are very intense, and that's going to tell you a lot about the coming videos in this case. And he is going to be a very intense character that we're going to be following. So, anything else that caught your eye?
It's so pretty.
Other than that.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, none of this is, well, as far as I've seen, I don't think any of this was hand-drawn. This is basically just really, really good editing on top of 3D animation.
Wow.
Either way, it's impressive.
It's still really pretty.
Mm-hmm. It's beautifully stylized, I have to say. Even the Emperor's Aquila in the background, that's pretty awesome.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know what that is now.
Yep. Do you know what it symbolizes?
Nope. I just know it's a 2-headed eagle.
The reason why it has 2 heads is it's looking into different directions. One towards the past, one towards the future. The one with that looks like it's missing an eye is turn away from the mistakes of the past, and then the one with the eye open, look only to the future. Or at least that's how it was explained to me.
See, looking at the picture, this specific Aquila, the one in the back, or to the left, that I would assume is looking to the past, has the eye open. And the one to the right, that would be looking towards the future, has the eye closed. Which also gives the impression of despair. Because there is no future, the glory was in the past.
I mean, if you were to kind of look at it that way, that would be one way to interpret it. But you also have to look at it from the perspective of, if you were that eagle, and you were looking at the description of past to the left, future to the right, it lines up with that. So, but I think that literally boils down to semantics at this point.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but that is kind of fun little concept to dwell on.
Here, I just thought they were really hoping for the second coming of Albania.
Oh, shit. I never saw that. Huh.
Well.
Huh.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see that, all I can think of is like, that's the thing that's on the that was on the Albanian flag.
I was thinking of that, but I didn't say anything. I was just kind of like, isn't that a symbol on a European flag?
Huh.
Yep.
Double-headed eagle in the center. Okay. But
That
it's red and
means
black,
that the Emperor
not
already lost.
red and gold.
It's also a different design, but it's still how many over the years, like how many double-headed Aquillas have there really been used in things?
Quite a few, actually.
It just shows my lack of knowledge on things, because the first thing
the eagle is just seen as typically the eagle is used, at least from my knowledge of it. It's because it's a powerful creature that is seen as
above everything in the world, kind of a thing.
Above everything, and also very noble and glorious. And
no, I'm not talking about just the eagle. I mean, the eagle's been used from everything from ancient Rome to modern day. I mean, just off the top of my head, you have two countries that come to mind is you have the Polish eagle and you have the bald eagle in America. So
I think there's also
it's just specifically a two-headed eagle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, to me, that's where
you drew that conclusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think there's also the Germany coat of arms also had an eagle that was double-headed.
Yeah.
At one point.
I could see that.
Oh, I thought the German eagle. I thought it was just.
I've seen both. I don't know. Maybe the one I saw was stylized, but.
Well, maybe that also harkens into how Games Workshop's property is very popular across the European continent and many other parts of the world. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, we're just still catching up here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Shame on us.
I'd say for the most part, U.S. side we're caught up. It's just not as big across a large percentage of the population, kind of thing. I don't know. I kind of sound rambly now.
Next video.
Oh, you're excited already? Okay.
I was excited when this started, and then it started playing, and I saw how gorgeous it was, and I want to see more. I also need to purchase said book and read said book.
I'm gonna see if the Humble Bundle still has it on sale, and I'll send you the link for it, because it'd be neat to get that and a whole bunch of others.
Dude, I'm on Amazon right now.
Man, why do I not think that you're not already doing something a step ahead of me all the time?
I like books.
Considering your
Thousand Sun, remember? I like books.
Yep. All right, James, you ready?
Yes.
And it's no way endorsed by Games Workshop. Isn't that crazy?
But it should be. I like the Gregorian chant.
Mm-hmm.
Fitting for what 40K in my head. At least with the big Gothic cities and
the cathedral-like structures of everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the song and just the lines of people, it gives the impression that they're going to death. They are marching to death and they know it.
In the holiest chamber of our ancient flagship, I lower myself to one knee and bow my head, because this is what is asked of me.
Grimaldus,
High Marshal Helbrecht intoned. His voice was a guttural rumble, rendered harsh from yelling orders and battle cries in 100 wars and 100 worlds.
We have summoned you to be judged.
I have answered the summons. I submit myself before your judgment, my liege.
Mordred is dead.
Helbrecht's voice was a deep murmur.
Slain by the archenemy. You, Grimaldus, have lost a master. We have all of us lost a brother. It was the belief of Reclusiarch Mordred that upon his death, you would be worthiest of our brother chaplains to stand in his stead. His final decree was that you, of all your brethren, would be the one to rise to the rank of
Reclusiarch.
The figure inclined his head in greeting.
Arterion, we draw near to our destination. I took the liberty of readying the squad for planetfall. This world will burn. It will not be the first, nor the last. Have you seen the projections? The fleet auguries, the number of vessels in the local systems already? I lost interest when the numbers became too high for me to count on my fingers.
Arterion snorted at his own weak jest.
We will fight and win.
Somehow,
or fight and
that
die.
fits.
All that ever changes is the color of the sky we fight under, and the shade of the blood on our blades.
I mean, that's one way to look at the situation.
My brothers' names are Arterion, Priamus, Cador, Nerovar, and Bastilan. These are the knights that have waged war beside me for decades. We are the Knights of Squad Grimaldus. Within his veins, Cador carries the blessed blood of Rogel Dawn with what seems like weary honor. He is older than I, older by far. His decades within the Sword Brethren are behind him now. Priamus is the rising sun to Cador's dusk. He is aware of his skills in the unsubtle and undignified way of many young warriors. Blade Master, he calls himself. It is not mistaken. Arterion is... Arterion. My shadow, just as I am his. It is rare among our number for any knight to lay aside personal glory, yet Arterion is the one who carries my banner into battle. Nerovar is the newest among us. The squad required the presence of an apothecary. In the trials, only Nerovar impressed the rest of us with his quiet endurance. Bastilan is last. Bastilan, always the best and least of us all. A leader, but not a commander. An inspiring presence, but not a strategist. Forever a sergeant, never fated to rise as a castellan or marshal. My brothers go through the same rituals of checking and rechecking. A curious sense of unease descends upon me.
Gerate and Loghain of the Sword Brethren. That there is talk of the High Marshal nominating you to lead a crusade.
It is my belief, not merely the wish of your fallen master, that you should take the honor we offer you now. You have waged war at my side for 200 years, Grimaldus. Will you stand at my side as Reclusiarch of the Eternal Crusade?
Yes, my liege.
These things are weird.
I dub thee Reclusiarch of the Eternal Crusade, as a knight of the Inner Circle. Let that be the last blow you receive unanswered.
It will be so, my liege.
As it should be.
So he tries to sucker punch him a second time.
Okay, so where to begin on that one?
I have several questions.
Okay, shoot.
What did he call him? Reclusiarch?
Right. Okay, so Reclusiarch. It basically refers to a very high rank among the Astartes assigned as a chaplain. And what a chaplain in a chapter of Astartes, they are basically the ones who oversee very important relics in the order, sort of like an honor guard kind of a thing. But they are also charged with, and this is going off of what I know, a Reclusiarch is in charge of maintaining order within the chapter itself, where they would act as sort of like a counselor or mentor of sorts. So they have a very high trusted position in the chapter specifically, and many of them are essentially assigned to look out for any signs of taint or chaos and deal with it as quickly as possible, so that way everything is handled internally before any external influences can come in and potentially label the chapter as a whole as hereticus.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And Halbert, it took me a moment. Wait, does he pop up in TTS?
He does. They do have...
So that is who... Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, Helbrecht is the liege of the Black Templars. So, James, you don't know him like Chelsea does. And to be fair, I'm going to put an asterisk there. The only exposure Chelsea has is basically the parody version of him. So...
That sounds very similar.
Yeah. So, Helbrecht plays the role of the liege of the chapter, and what that basically translates to is he's the guy in charge of the entire Black Templars army. He is the head honcho. Anything and everything that is related to the Black Templars is primarily focused through him. He oversees everything. So, by having Grimaldus turn into a Reclusiarch, he effectively turns into sort of like either the left or right-hand man of Helbrecht in this case. And Helbrecht, his voice is very distinct because, like Grimaldus points out in the video, he points out that his voice is warped and distorted because of years of literally screaming out orders for his troops in battle, because he's seen so many battles. And the Black Templars are infamous for having many violent and extremely large campaigns, and he has been pretty much on the front line for most of them in this case.
He needs a lot of honey lemon tea.
Honey lemon tea, I don't think even that will do much to save that man's voice. It literally would be like if Louis Armstrong was turned into an Astartes, his voice would sound very similar to Helbrecht in this case. Only instead of, playing a trumpet too loud for too long for many years, it's basically because of combat and not having good enough radios.
No, I'm sorry, you just broke me for a moment. I thought of an Astartes band, but that lung capacity, and oh my, I need this in my life. No, that'd be amazing. They wouldn't have to take breaths, they could belt those huge notes.
Chelsea?
I need this in my life.
Chelsea? Not meaning to break you, but I'm going to say this right now. Emperor's Children.
Actually, I was thinking of your wolves singing, too. If any of them are going to have songs or chants, it's going to be the wolves.
Okay, you know what? That is completely fair.
Also, a question. If Helbrecht has been through so many battles, I've never actually asked this. How do Astartes have a lifespan?
Effectively, yes and no. So, the way that it's been presented is the fact that an Astartes is basically made to serve until they die. However, I don't think there's ever really been an example of an Astartes that actually died of old age, at least not to my knowledge, or at least not without having some sort of gene seed defect where they start breaking down.
Because I know one of your wolves, I don't remember. The old man wolf.
Which one?
Has been there. The one who served with Russ.
Bjorn the Fell-Handed.
He served with Russ, which means he's at least 10,000 years old.
Yes, but there's also the fact that he was interred into a dreadnought, which prolongs his life even further.
Oh, I did not know that part. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so Bjorn the Fell, I don't remember when exactly he got interred into a dreadnought. I have to, and I know there's going to be somebody who's going to call me out for not knowing, but it's not off the top of my head, because there's a lot of 40K lore that I haven't really dove in headfirst in yet. Do
dreadnoughts need to eat?
Don't think so. No, dreadnoughts are basically they are effectively dead, and they are animated strictly for their neuro capacity, and the dreadnought essentially has them thinking that they are still alive, and because of that, there's a reason why dreadnoughts need to go into prolonged periods of being just shut off. Because if a dreadnought occupant is awake for too long, their instincts of, I have to eat, I have to breathe, I have to not be in this box, is going to drive them insane.
So that must be real torture for, I forgot his name already, Fellhand.
Bjorn, Bjorn, the Fell-Handed.
It must be torture for him because he can't consume the alcohol that you and your Space Wolves are so fond of. Being the only Astartes, to my knowledge, that actually created an alcohol that you can get drunk from.
Yeah, true. And Russ's own blend, mind you.
So he cannot imbibe that anymore. That sucks to be him.
Yeah, when you put it out like that, Bjorn really, really is not given a good hand in terms of an Astartes lifespan.
He's just unhappy.
Although, I do kind of laugh at the idea of a drinking contest between the wolves and the Dark Angels. That would be funny to see.
You know, if you two meet up in person and you have to do that stupid wolf versus lion battle, a drinking contest or a Nerf gun battle would be hilarious.
You know what?
And I'm not talking drinking alcohol. I'm talking drinking like a lineup of ridiculous drinks, like tomato juice and pineapple juice and soy sauce and just like really stupid things. And whoever finishes it first wins.
You know, just thinking about that kind of makes my stomach hurt already. James?
I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued by the idea of Nerf battling.
Okay, we're going to have to definitely put a pin on that, and who knows, we might even make a video of it, so...
I mean, just saying, my channel is Nerfing Lionheart Custom, so...
Excuse me, I'm just going to stand here with my bow and arrow and watch your Nerf battle and amusement.
Okay.
They have bows and arrows in Nerf, right?
You realize my bow does not shoot Nerf arrows.
See, we were going with the safe route.
One.
She's going full lethal. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,000 Suns in all of their glory. Good lord.
Chaos at its finest.
Wait. I forgot what happened in the last video. Never mind, Chelsea, you are not allowed to join us.
Wait, what happened? I didn't threaten to kill you.
It's enough.
Kind of did.
Nah. Did I?
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't so many words, but
Did I?
yeah. No, you kind of did.
No, that doesn't sound like something I would do.
Okay.
Oh, of course not. Bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. I call it too. Okay, so to kind of reel us back a little bit, so that's who Helbricht and that's what a Reclusiarch are. So what other questions come to mind?
Just for kind of my own better understanding, the Eternal campaign that he was referring to.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's just what everyone is fucking doing in the realm of Warhammer 40K, right?
If you were to look at it from a philosophical standpoint, you're correct. But if you were to look at practice and implementation, no. This goes down to the Black Templars having their own culture in this case. And in their culture, they treat their service in battle as part of what they call an Eternal Crusade. And the Eternal Crusade is essentially...
No, I misspoke. I said Eternal campaign. It was the Eternal Crusade.
Right. So basically their entire perception is they have to go throughout the entire Imperium and basically hunt down any type of mutants or any type of Xenos that they come across, kill them all because basically they're aberrations to what being a true human is. And for them, it's a ever-going battle where basically it'll never end. And the way that they treat their campaigns, they refer to every other campaign like this unit is going here and this unit going there. One unit is going to be referred to as this blank crusade or this blank crusade. They just refer to all campaigns that they're actively working on a crusade as part of an eternal crusade. So sort of like a sub-crusade if you were to put it on a pie chart. Or not pie chart, or a graph. Graph is more of an appropriate term. Good lord, where did I get pie chart from?
Maybe you just really want pie.
You know
what? I mean, I've got some good recipes I can share with you, but...
You know what? That actually sounds good. I appreciate that, but I could really go for a cheesecake now that I think of it. Well, anyway.
I also have those.
Well, that helps. So I guess that kind of covers that crusade part. Anything else comes to mind?
I don't have any other direct questions.
Okay. So
it's so he landed with 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
So those are his
unit.
Oh, you said the word. Yeah, his unit. Then
those were the other ones that you're talking
about.
The
apothecary, they're kind of like healers, right?
Correct. Yes, apothecary is basically the combat medic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the flag burning? Is that what I saw? The flag was burning?
Yeah, so basically what happened was, in this case, the order of events is a little jumbled in this sequence of the video. From what I understand, that whole sequence where they were inside of a pod and dropping, that could be one of two things. Either it was A, them dropping into an active battlefield, or B, this was just Grimaldus, the main character, just having a vision of what may be coming as they're approaching. And because he said in his inner monologue, I just have this uneasy feeling. And it's like, we do this all the time, but I just have this really, really bad feeling. And I think this was a visual representation of that bad feeling, because you'll even see, like, in the drop pod, as the flag was burning, you'll see that one of the guys was reaching out in pain while on fire. So I'm just saying that's like, what would be the worst case scenario for an Astartes? Dying before they even make planetfall. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
And the sequence of events is a little jumbled because it's jumping from when he was inducted as a Reclusiarch and the active arrival to Armageddon before they start their campaign, when he's talking to his unit. The guy who made that joke saying, I lost interest once the number got higher than my 10 fingers.
Yeah, wasn't that Helbrecht who said that, or
No, that was not Helbrecht. That was the soldier that goes by the name of Artarian. Artarian, as he mentioned in his unit, he is the shadow of Grimaldus. That's not really a rank. I think that's really just his way of saying that I have served with this guy for a very, very long time, and he is probably my most trusted man in this team.
Okay.
And apparently he has a sense of humor, which you don't normally see in Astartes.
Rare in Astartes.
Mm-hmm. Unless you look at TTS, but...
Well, wait. Canonically.
Yes.
I think canonically, isn't the Jagatai had the sense of humor? Was that right?
I am not a White Scars aficionado, so I don't know if he's the one that had a sense of humor, realistically.
Okay.
I know that in the lore, the Primarchs give brotherly jabs at each other. Sense of humor, as we would define it, maybe. It also depends on who's writing the story, because realistically, a lot of the lore does portray, some having a personality while others don't. So
that's true.
And we all know how the Custodes are portrayed in the lore. They are basically like, if you're not for the Emperor, you're an enemy, you just get out. And if you are even a whiff of mortal, just get out of our way. We're superior, then you get out of the way.
I would not get along with them. Probably just because I don't really care about the Emperor very much, but I would die.
I gotta leave a note to keep that part of the video redacted so the Inquisition doesn't find us.
You know what? I'm with 1,000 Suns. Screw the Inquisition.
Well, Space Wolf, yeah. Inquisition and I don't get along anyway. Okay. So I think that covers that for the most part. The only other thing of note in this entire sequence, as far as I've seen, basically comes down to the dreadnoughts in the dreadnoughts in the background. So that's basically what a dreadnought would look like. Since, James, I'm not sure if you can recall from Death of Hope. You remember those big robots that were bigger than the suits of armor in Suits of Armor? This guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a dreadnought, and that is basically where a dead Astartes is basically, well, dead or close to death. Astartes is entombed, and this is basically their battle carrier till the day that they actually do experience death. Once you're entombed in that thing, just about nothing can actually kill you aside from armor-piercing anti-tank rounds, because you are basically buried in a crap ton of steel.
You were going to be buried in the ground, but congratulations, you did a good enough job killing other people. We're going to bury you in steel, and we're going to keep using your brain and your withering muscles so you can kill more things.
That's one way of looking at it, yeah.
Basically, they RoboCop them.
That, you know
You
what?
know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shit. They RoboCop them.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Bobby and George, wait a second.
That's a parallel I hadn't thought about, and you know what? I am so happy that you brought that up, because that's a funny visual to me, James.
I have to say, I'm
wrong.
glad my little simplistic views on these things, and just trying to relate them to shit that I know, are working out so well.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
And personally, I think.
Oh, so you agree with the Jar Jar Magnus? Yes.
No, and I'm gonna freaking stab you.
Well, going back to the importance of said simplicity, it's also...
there are no death threats around here.
Oh, there was nothing about death there.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the Dreadnought.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I think that it's probably a very good way of looking at 40K in a different lens, because the whole point of this whole show and series that we're doing on this channel is we're trying to raise the connections so that way people who are new can understand it better in different contexts. And honestly, I like that context. They RoboCopped him, and that is the robotic body he's in. That's funny.
Yeah.
So the only other thing worth noting is also the moment where he got smacked by Helbricht. I love that line. May that be the last strike you take and leave unanswered. Holy crap, that literally sums up the Black Templars to a frickin' T. If anyone
Pretty
insults
much.
you, if anyone hits you, you give it back to them, if not double.
There, that comic of the small child, his dad, I got bullied at school, and the father hands them a bat with nails out of it and says, "Go hit him back."
Yeah.
That is the Black Templars.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it.
Well, you're also not... Well...
Despite the aggressiveness, I am more pacifistic and more willing to generally speak things out unless people are beyond reason.
You see, I'm glad you said it, and it saves me the embarrassment of trying to sound like I'm very contradictory.
No. Despite the aggression, it's just kind of like a bark and bite. Well, no. If you continue to be a dick and go without reason, then maybe I will slap you. But generally, I am more willing to talk things out.
See,
and,
this is why I'm glad that you are
act like adults.
represented by the Pavoni cult.
I like the Pavoni. They're the healers, and it's so cool.
I know. That's why I'm saying it's a good thing you assign that to yourself. Because honestly, if anything else, that would actually terrify me.
What if I picked any of the other cults?
A little, yeah.
Well, was it the Athenians are pretty cool? They see the future. I can see the future.
We've seen what happened with Conrad Kurz.
True, but in their case, it wasn't. I don't know if you want to get into this now. It wasn't like flat out seeing. It was more like impulses.
Okay.
Like flashes of things, or something is going to happen. I don't know what, but something's going to happen. And then somebody constantly replying with, "Are you okay? Yeah, why? Your hand's on your bolter." Oh shoot, it is. Which happened several times, by the way, in the Magnus the Red book.
Oh, jeez.
Where it's just like, oh, something about to happen. And they knew something is about to happen, but they don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Right. Well, I guess that adds a little more context to that. Okay, so I guess that sums up part 2 in a very, very good nutshell. And yes, I'm going to say this again. If there's anything that we've missed, please refer to the comments section. I will be reading it, and I will add that to my collective knowledge, because that's the whole point of this entire series.
Yes. And enjoying what other people make.
Exactly. Okay, so I guess we're good to start part 3. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Let's get it started. Hey!
Oh, I haven't thought about that song in years.
Sorry. I love how he always adds that.
Well, it's accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a grim dark. There is nothing else. There is hope. Hope is essentially dead. It's boys. Oh, get up. The concept of the orcs is both fascinating and terrifying to me. Oh! Well, yeah.
Kadaka.
You are the kind of ugly only a mother could love. Actually, no, that's not true. You're not as bad as demons. Is that a... human? Oh. Is that a chainsaw?
Yep.
Humans can carry those?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were bigger than that.
He was a special case.
Are you Kirov?
I am.
We are the Emperor's Knights. We are the warriors of the Eternal Crusade and the sons of Rogel Dawn. I am Helbrecht, High Marshal of the Black Templars. With me is Bayard, Emperor's Champion, and Grimaldus, Ecclesiarch. We come to offer you our blades, our service, and the lives of over 900 warriors in the defense of your world.
Kurov stood in silence. 900 Astartes. Entire star systems were conquered with a fraction of that.
I am glad to hear it. Welcome to Armageddon. Hades' hive will not survive the first week.
The man speaking is ancient, and he looks every hour of his age. Both piety and hate echo in his every word. His name is Sebastian Yarrick. Even we Astartes must respect that name.
What is coming in
See the guy with the
system now
chainsword?
far exceeds what has laid waste to the planet before. The other hives must be reinforced 1,000 times over. Hades will burn. At our best estimations, Battle Fleet Armageddon, the orbital defenses, and the Astartes fleets remaining in the void will be able to deny the enemy landing for 9 days. These are our best estimates. And the worst? 4 days. Once the orbital war is lost, be it 4 days or 9, our fleets will break from the planet in a fighting withdrawal. From then on, Armageddon will be defenseless beyond what is already entrenched upon the surface. The orcs will be free to land whatever and wherever they wish.
Who will lead the Astartes vessels?
Given his seniority and the expertise of his chapter, High Marshal Helbrecht of the Black Templars will take overall command of the Astartes fleets.
We are to remain in orbit.
We are the obvious choice to command the Astartes elements in the orbital battles.
I was wrong. I will not die in futility on this world. High Marshal, we can slaughter the green-skinned tyrant before he even sets foot on the world below us.
I have already spoken with the other marshals, my brother. We must leave a contingent on the surface to defend one of the hive cities that yet remains ungarrisoned by Astartes.
That is not our duty, my liege.
And yet, a commander must remain.
Don't do this.
It is already done.
No!
This is not the time. The decision is made, Grimaldus. I know you as I knew Mordred. You will not refuse this honor.
I would burst the great enemy's black heart in my hand and cast his blasphemous flagship to the surface of Armageddon, wreathed in holy fire. Do not leave me here, Helbrecht. Do not deny me this glory.
You will not refuse this honor. Wait, brother.
Oh.
Maybe you will be dying here.
Blood of dawn. Now that's a sight.
Their destination was called, with bleakness so typical of this world, Helsreach. We cannot be the only Astartes strength sent to this city. We will not be alone. The Guard is with us, and militia forces. Humans? The Legio Invigilata has landed to the east of the city. Titans, my brother. I don't see you sneering at that. Reclusiac. How can we defend all this? With blade and bolter. With faith and fire.
Yeah, I love Bastila. He is inspiring.
That's a great answer. But also, you're gonna die. Awesome.
Should see somebody about that arm.
That was quite a lot of blood.
So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't meant to be like kind of like a funny thing. It was seriously, that was a lot of fucking blood that man was losing.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry, it's just the timing of that was just
He really needs to see it.
Oh my god. Oh, thank you, James. That was funny. Okay,
so who was that man? Because they said even Astartes would posit his name. I don't know his name. Who was that man? Aside from being really awesome.
Okay. So that man in particular that we saw at the very end and at the very beginning of this episode, he is a commissar, and that's a rank in the typical mortalist army. And he goes by the name Sebastian Yarrick. And he is infamous in the military because of what happened in that scene. He was a commissar that was assigned to participate in the Second War of Armageddon, which basically puts this predating Helsreach. And during the Second War of Armageddon, an entire orc force came in and invaded the planet. He was on the front lines with the other military, and you saw how quick the orcs were going through mortals left and right.
Yep.
Commissar Yarrick basically went to work, and he is noted for basically being a hero in the Second War of Armageddon for killing an orc war boss in single combat and surviving having his arm cut off by that very same orc. And the arm that he threw up to inspire his men until the orcs were chased out of the city, that's the same arm that he uses in combat to this day.
He attached an orc arm to his himself.
The robotic arm, yeah. He was able to modify it, and he was able to basically use it as a replacement arm when he goes into battle, and he will still use that chainsword weapon in his hand.
I have health concerns over how that works, but okay.
Well, considering the fact that humans in Warhammer 40K modify themselves with tech all the time, it really, really wouldn't be a far-fetched idea that they would be able to repurpose,
I guess that's true. I was just thinking the fact that it was orcish, which are different biology than humans because they're entirely fungus.
True.
So there's a Heka infection that could show up from that.
Yeah, but
it
was also the robotic.
So are you trying to say there's a fungus among us? Sorry.
No. Sorry. I wouldn't really worry about that, Chelsea, strictly for the fact that he only kept the robotic bits. He did not keep any quote-unquote fungus parts of the orc.
It would just stick to it anyways. But this is also fictional. But that does kind of lead into one reason I said the orcs are a really cool theory and also terrifying. Isn't it when they die, they release a bunch of spores that then can produce more orcs?
Yes, that is true. So, James, I'm not sure if we ever did cover the orcs in any of the Warhammer species. They are biologically designed to basically be a fungus that will pretty much grow off of anything and anywhere, and they basically grow into these creatures called squigs, metamorphosize into orcs and noblings. They are literally goblins if goblins were given guns and robotic bits to replace any bits that they have, and the only thing they want to do is fight. They exist specifically to fight, kill, destroy, and constantly fight until they actually do die.
And doesn't that technology run on belief or thought or something like that?
Yeah, so the orcs...
Which is also terrifying.
Yeah, so the orcs, in this case, they are a species that, for whatever reason, inexplicable reason outside of, warp fuckery would be a better way of looking at it. If they throw anything together stylized to work a certain way, it will work. So if they literally just take any pipe, put it into the housing of something that would look like a gun, and just load in a box full of screws into the magazine into it, it will literally turn it into a fully functioning gun. The orcs are a species that do not have a technology of their own. They literally just grab bits of metal and repurpose it specifically with the mentality of, this is turning into a weapon, I will make it a weapon, it will work like a weapon. And it does. And if you were to try to pick up a orc gun, it will not work in your hand, because it is not an actual gun. It's just trash that was thrown together to look like and operate loosely on the concept of a gun, but it does not have any gunpowder, propellant, or anything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they are a terrifying race to deal with, because if they can get their hands on scrap metal, they can make any weapon their brains can think of. I mean, that's also the very reason why that orc boss that Yarrick killed had a robotic arm that had like the 3 blades to work and replace as an arm for him. And when Yarrick got it, he basically had to have it converted into a functioning weapon and arm for him to use, and he ended up having to do that for his own image and patriotism, because he became the hero of the Second War of Armageddon. And we saw him in the control room when Grimaldus was referring to a man who is ancient and looks every day of his year. Because basically,
which is a great description.
Yeah, the Second War of Armageddon happened 50 years before this current War of Armageddon. So this man is old, and he is still fighting.
Yeah, the orcs are terrifying, because essentially you got a bunch of small, angry murder hobos, and everything they imagine is weapon becomes weapon. And if you try to kill one, it just makes more of them.
Basically. That's essentially what an orc is. And Yarrick
that's terrifying.
Hates everything about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, they cut his arm off, come on.
Yeah, true. And they killed so many humans around him. So.
Yeah, and they invaded his home, so...
Yep.
Oh, there is something they mentioned in this. I don't know if James knows, and I want to double check. They mentioned that the Astartes are going to protect a hive city. Hive cities are the ones that produce things, right? Like factory cities, essentially?
Yeah, basically a hive city is just a overly populated city that is built on top of itself like crazy. And their entire thing can basically range from a manufacturing city that's dedicated to manufacturing only one thing, or it's just a really, really densely packed city because it's the only spot on the planet that's actually habitable for a large group of people.
Okay.
Yeah, so the idea of a hive city, it literally refers to basically one location that has a stupidly large population. Like if we were to take New York, for example, and how complicated New York is, imagine if there were like 3 layers of New York on top of itself. That would basically be a hive city in its apt description.
Screw that, no. I'm not going anywhere near that.
Well, that's literally what a hive city is, and that's how they're described.
Ugh, okay. That sounds horrific.
Yep. Any other questions, or?
I think I'm good at this point.
Okay, so you don't have any other questions, James. Chelsea, anything else that stood out to you?
No, I mean, I think it is kind of, even though they're going to have the Titan. Did you say Titans or Terminators?
Titans.
You said Titans. Even though they're going to have Titans, that seems like they're just sending them to the slaughter.
Okay. Now, the reason why it sounds like that basically comes down to what orc mobs are, or, sorry, I didn't use the proper term, orc was, because that's what they refer to, their version of what a crusade is. Essentially, they attack in such massive numbers that basically you will need the heaviest guns possible to kill as many of them as quickly as possible. They are... It's a good way of looking at them is that they are essentially an army that is equivalent to an infestation. And if you don't kill as many of them in one go as possible, your entire planet can basically be overrun to the point that even an exterminaz may not be enough to get rid of them all.
Ooh.
So the fact that there's going to be yet another attack on Armageddon and the city of Helsreach, that there's going to be orcs involved, there's going to be a massive number of these guys coming all in at once. And the way that the Imperium are organizing this, if you remember, Helbrecht, when he was introducing himself to the officer that was here, he said that there were 900 Astartes from the Black Templars that are going to be participating in this battle. That, in chapter sizes, that is essentially a huge majority of what a chapter size would be. So essentially, to the mind of the soldier, he is basically saying, almost all of us are here to defend alongside you.
Right, I thought of that while we were watching, but I didn't say anything because they're Dorn's boys. They don't listen to the Codex Astartes, right? So they don't really have chapters. They just have a gazillion Black Templars.
Yeah, the Black Templars, they are not Codex compliant, and the Codex would say that there shouldn't be more than a certain number of Astartes at any given time. To the Black Templars, they literally look at that as, yeah, that's not going to be a good thing for us to keep up our Eternal Crusade, so we're going to ignore it. And they willingly ignore it.
Right, so there's more of them than a standard chapter.
It's not like a public thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I remember he said that because the guys, it was something along the lines of being astounded by the numbers. I'm like, oh, right, because they're not Codex compliant, so there's more of them.
Yeah.
And I do have another question, though. I just remembered, actually.
Okay.
Why is there a Space Wolf there?
So it's not just the Black Templars that are there. Basically, as many Astartes were called in to help in proximity to Armageddon. And you have to remember, where Armageddon sits, it's in the galactic region close to where Fenris is. So it's not unheard of for a Space Wolf to be within close proximity to Armageddon at any given time.
Okay, so Armageddon pretty much just sent out a help beacon, and then both of them just showed up.
Basically. And if I remember correctly, there are going to be many other chapters that answer the call. But the way that the battle is going to be constructed, and this is something that Grimaldus was pissed off with Helbrecht for, was that there's going to be a major space battle out in the orbit of the planet to kill off as many orcs coming in as possible. But as Yarrick pointed out, that anywhere between 4 to 9 days... Okay,
that's a long time.
That space battle can go south really, really bad. And the reason why that's expected is because the sheer number of orcs, they're going to make planetfall. There is no avoiding that. And that's why they said that there's going to be a tactical retreat for the space forces to leave the area. They're going to let the orcs arrive. But by the 9th day, a larger Imperial force is going to be coming in to reinforce the planet to fight against the orcs. So it's essentially a battle of attrition that they're expecting to fight between days 4 and 9 on the surface of the planet. And Grimaldus got pissed off with Helbrecht in this case because normally for Black Templars, they do not play the defensive role, which is kind of ironic since the Imperial Fists do. But Black Templars, they are attack. That is literally what they do. And Helbrecht assigning Grimaldus to basically garrison a city to represent the Black Templars and be the leadership of that said city. To him, it's akin to basically saying, okay, so here's a knife. I need you to take that knife and hammer a nail into the wall. That's how Grimaldus is processing it, and that's why he was pissed off, because it's like, you are literally telling me not to do my job.
So my brain wandered a little bit when you said that they're very much attack and they don't defend. My brain immediately compared them to, so they've got the temperament of a Chihuahua. But
I got the
they're not
that
small.
We're going to have a Black Templar fan in the comment who's going to call you out for that.
I'm sorry. Chihuahuas are vicious, man. They are evil. Clearly, they don't have, like, the size of Chihuahua, but they've got the temperament of, I see you, I don't like you. I'm going to attack you. Yeah. But in this case, they're being put in the position of what would be a guard dog, which, I don't know, like a Rottweiler. Those are beautiful guard dogs, and they're really sweet.
So are Dobermans. Don't give them...
Rottweiler was just the first one I thought of. But, like, we're just sweet, like, but good guard dogs. Because they're like, okay, you can stay over there. And if you're over there, we're fine. But if you come any closer, then we're going to have a problem.
Right. And to Grimaldus, this is not his role, and this is not what the Black Templars do, and that's why he's pissed off, as far as I understand it. And yeah, that's basically the situation that they found themselves in. They're basically assigned to be on a city, and they have to wait anywhere between 4 to 9 days for an oncoming onslaught of orcs. And hopefully they can survive long enough for the reinforcements to come.
And there's 5 of them to do that? That's...
Yeah, it's only the one unit of the Black Templars, just the 5 of them to basically act as the defense in this case, yes.
That doesn't seem like it's going to end well.
Well, considering the fact under normal circumstances, a unit that size of Astartes is enough to take over a planet, I mean, technically, they are a force unto themselves, but for dealing with the orcs, yeah, it is a small number.
I was going to say, against a bunch of humans, oh yeah, they can easily take over the planet. But against an incoming war force of orcs, that seems...
Right.
Not as good.
But you also have to remember, because the Space Wolf was there and Helbrecht actually said, it makes sense for us, we are the clear choice to to lead the space battle for the Astartes champions that are here. That means that there are other Astartes chapters that are there on Armageddon. There are many more. There have to be many more. But for the Black Templars to only send Grimaldus and his unit down to defend Helsreach, we'll see how that plays out, because I'm not sure who's going to be there to reinforce them or help them, as far as I know. Only that there's going to be a army of normal Astra Militarum, I think iron something? Hold on, now I have to...
I'm thinking of Iron Warriors, and I cannot imagine them working with any of Dorn's
I'm sorry,
boys.
I got that completely wrong. The Armageddon Steel Legion. Their unit is going to be reinforcing them. That's the primary reinforcement unit that the Astartes are going to have. And a knight is going to... James, in case you've forgotten, the giant robots, they are going to be the only thing defending Helsreach. So...
Oh.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. But with the way that the end cinematic shows Yarrick killing off the war boss, there may be hope in the end. Because who knows?
Yeah,
if a mortal man can do that, we'll see what an army of his ilk can do.
True. Now they've all got... Well, you mentioned a whole bunch of soldiers who've grown up with that story of your commissar did this will probably be fighting pretty dang hard to prove that they're just as worthy.
Yeah, who knows? But I think that's going to be a good point of leaving it for now. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to watch another introducing friends to Warhammer 40K. I really appreciate every last one of you. If there's anything that we've missed in this discussion and breakdown, please leave it in the comments. We greatly would appreciate that. And hopefully we'll see you
sorry
in the
about the
next one.
Chihuahua comment.
She's sorry about the Chihuahua comment, so go easy on her. All right.
I still regret nothing.
It's okay. Just flood the comments with hashtag Jar Jar Magnus. I think that'll be more than enough recompense.
It's not recompense.
All right, everyone. Catch you in the next one.